Hey everyone, welcome back to the Poplar Report. We got some important updates to cover today. Well, it has begun. We have our first-hand report of out of Reading, Pennsylvania, of Trump supporters being attacked using caustic chemicals by a person upset about the election. We have what you need to know here in today's report. Also, we have an important Supreme Court update. Farmers in the UK are pushing back on the Liberal government there with threats of blocking ports and breaking the supply chains to the supermarkets. We have an update from Asheville, North Carolina. We have drought updates from several places and so much more. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and a happy Monday morning to you, hopefully. If you have updates that you'd like to share with the rest of the audience, please use the word update somewhere in your comment. It can be a comment on this video or on any video on this channel. Before we dive in, we do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people who have retirement accounts to get out of stocks and bonds and other risky things and get into gold, silver, or platinum. If you'd like to find out more about what you can do with that, with no obligation, just asking for more information, there'll be a link at the end of the video. All right. FEMA has now confirmed the story out of Florida about the supervisor who had blocked FEMA workers from going to Trump supporters' houses. Not only have they confirmed it, but they've now fired the supervisor. Now, this is after a lot of political pressure from the Daily Wire news story, as well as a political investigation from the state of Florida. DeSantis and Florida have initiated that investigation, and only now has this worker been fired. Before, they were removed from their role, but they were not fired. Only after all this political pressure were they fired. So, shining the light, hat tip to the Daily Wire for breaking that story and getting that information out in the open. It's these things. We need to get that information out, and then we need to shine the light of exposure to these corrupt dealings of these agencies. These bureaucrats have been able to do this kind of stuff unhindered for so very long. Canning Mom says, update for you, Steve. I live in Reading, Pennsylvania, and one of our local grocery stores last night, one of the employees was so upset about the turnout of the election that they went outside and sprayed some kind of caustic material on cars that have Trump insignias on them. And it was eating people's skin. I warned you that these people who have been told all sorts of horrendous things about Trump supporters and Trump himself are not going to stop at being upset. They're going to go further. There are unconfirmed reports of large numbers of folks who have decided to harm themselves over this and increasingly, we're hearing reports of people trying to harm other people due to the election. So, friends, it is an election, and I understand it is a decision for the direction of our country, but you should never get to the point where you're harming other people because of those things. Russia and Ukraine have both launched record drone attacks on each other overnight as the war there seems to move into its endgame. After the phone call between President-elect Trump, or President Trump, he's all of those things now somehow, he and Elon Musk spoke directly with Vladimir Putin. And apparently, they've tried to set up the groundwork and getting information to lay the groundwork for a peace plan. But Russia is trying to grab up as much territory as it can before peace talks begin. Despite leftist activists calling for Supreme Court Justice Sotomayor to retire, so she can be replaced by President Biden and the Democratic-controlled Senate currently. She has indicated that she has no plans to retire at this point. That report comes from the Wall Street Journal and was passed along by people close to Supreme Court Justice Sotomayor. So probably her staff or something along those lines. We have reports that farmers in the UK are preparing to withhold produce and to block ports due to the leftist Labour budget, which includes a 20% inheritance tax that would hit farmers hard when they try to pass down their land and their farms to family members. They are not having that, and they are very, very upset. They're already protesting out on the streets with their tractors, and they're threatening to shut down ports and shut down roads, whatever it takes to keep food from getting to the supermarkets. That's their plan. Good idea to stock up, friends, because you never know when farmers might decide to block all the food getting to your supermarket, right? Benzomatic says, the news has forgotten about us in Asheville, North Carolina. It's still terrible, not even drinkable water. Some complaining about skin conditions and dermatitis from showering in the water because it's still got all the bacteria in there and everything. Please pray for us. There are hundreds or more people still missing as well. Speaking of the UK, let's head back over there. The bowler hat farmer says, before we move on, don't be forgetting about the people in North Carolina and Tennessee and the other places affected by these hurricanes. It takes many, many months to deal with houses that have been flooded, houses that have been damaged, houses that have been destroyed. It takes many, many months of recovery, and volunteers are still needed. In fact, as time goes on, the opportunities for volunteers to get in and work on volunteer teams actually expands because there's more capability to house the volunteers and things get more organized. And there's always more work to do. Usually, relief efforts peter out because the volunteers kind of dry up. So, not because the need dries up, but because the volunteers stop coming. So there's plenty more work to be done. Bear Independent is still on the ground there. I know that I'm not sure exactly what Pinball and Patera have planned or what they're working on right now, but you can always check over their channels to see if they have anything current going on as well. But Bear Independent is sounding like he's going to be on the ground for a while there. Okay, over to the UK. The bowler hat farmer says DEFRA, which is the British government farming department, texts us daily about it, and it's all rubbish. It's simply just a way of reducing the amount of meat available in the system. Now, DEFRA stands for Department for Environment, Food, and Rural Affairs. And really, it's about pushing the climate stuff on food somehow. It's how can you politicize food? Well, this department is in charge of that, to make everything about climate and all sorts of stuff so that people can't get food without thinking about the climate impacts and the methane and the CO2 and all that. Wouldn't you just love that in the United States? Because that's what the EPA has its desire to get into. The EPA and the FDA want to label everything with our climate impacts, and they want to go after farmers for producing too much methane and this and that. Absolutely insane. Kathy says, Steve, here in northeast Pennsylvania, we have several brush fires and some forest fires. Blue Mountain near Palmerton, and also by Reading. Please pray for rain. So this is in Pennsylvania. Our well is so very low that we've been having to haul water in from our daughter's house. We have burn bans in place, but still have had brush and wildfires. Once again, please pray for rain. God bless. Ours Girl says, our first time Sam's Club was out of eggs. They put out gallons of liquid egg and whites, so liquid eggs. That's in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Brad says 31 straight days with no measurable precipitation for the month of October. This is according to KY3 Weather. 10 and was in Springfield, Missouri. Moderate, but they call it a moderate drought here according to them. Beth in northeast Oklahoma. So this drought is really hitting home to farmers as well as you can hear, people with wells, especially wells that are shallow wells that tap into springs. Springs dry up. Definitely experience that backpacking. Sometimes the upper springs will dry up. You have to go further and further down where mountains kind of meet. That's where a lot of times you'll find springs. You have to go down further and further. Sometimes they're all dry. Beth in northeast Oklahoma. We had been in extreme drought. Ranchers' ponds empty or near empty. Pastures dried up. Ranchers have been haying the cattle because the grass is all gone, right? For the last month, which is way too early and really expensive. Expect that to hit the beef prices, friends. I can see hundreds of cows from my front porch and see ranchers haying every day. Saw tanks in the back of trucks making things making me think some ranchers may be having to haul water to their livestock. Then this last week, boy, did we get rain. 8 inches here at our place, praise the Lord. So definitely some rainfall, which making things a little bit better across the Midwest in some places. But by and large, like I said, this drought is like widespread. It's across the entire United States. There's some areas where it's really, really bad. But it's just like the whole United States, continental United States, is dry, record dry, and it's not good across the whole swath. And so some spots of rain are not going to solve this. We need a lot more rain across the entire U.S. Joe says, upstate New York, Hannaford Bros grocery store website and the online ordering is down due to a cyber attack. Again, I can just imagine you being in North Korea or Iran or Russia as a hacker, and you get assigned, you're going to take down the Hannaford grocery store website. I mean, talk about unimportant targets, right? But we just see more and more of these attacks. Indie girl in Mishawaka, Indiana. Can't find a dentist that takes my insurance. I really need one. Dentists that take people's insurance, and then also just trying to find an appointment with dentists is really, really hard right now. We're getting a lot of report of others coming from other places who have their government cards getting free medical care and everything like that. They are getting their teeth fixed. They're getting a lot of dental work done, and that's been the reports out there. And a lot of dentists have been retiring early too. And apparently not so many people are getting into dentistry. So if you have a kid and they want a good job, get them into dentistry. Parrot Africa in South Africa says eggs and potatoes have slightly dropped in price since summer has started in South Africa, but for how long? Coffee seems to go out of stock quickly, and coffee is still very highly priced. Thanks for that report from South Africa. And once again, if you have reports that you'd like to send in, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That gets it to me. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold about what you can do with your retirement account, there's a link right there on the screen. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. Thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report